The Alderman's project certainly had its challenges. In some respects, one area where we found it actually was a great project to work on was the fact that we were able to bring in a lift and take all the equipment and modules and racking up to the roof fairly easily with the material handler that we had there, and that made a very smooth transition for the equipment and modules to get them safely and quickly and efficiently onto the roof. The first thing that we go through and look for is having adequate space to place an array on the roof. Also the orientation of the roof. You want to be sure that there's adequate solar resource, and start to think about how much solar capacity there actually is. Basically how many modules will fit on that surface, and if there's any loading issues, depending on the system type, you're going to have a weight per square foot, so you have to be sure that the roof will allow for the additional weight of the PV array. Well, ideally 180 degrees true south is what we look for. You can have some deviation from that and still have adequate performance, but that's always ideal. The sun's always going to be in the southern sky if you're in the northern hemisphere. We opted for a ballast roof system, which doesn't use any penetrations. Where it was necessary to do penetration was from the transition from the roof array down into the mechanical room via the conduit run, and to do that we used a certified roofer to make the penetration and set up the flashing properly. Metal conduit, and with a given number of wires based on the array size, and that basically just gives protection to your wire runs on the roof. The array at the Alderman's is 180 modules. It's Solar World 220s, 220 watt modules, and it's the total DC rated capacity is 39.6 kilowatts. Solar World has a great product. They've been in the business since the 70s, and their manufacturing is in Oregon and California, which is important to us to use American products. Initially, we're going through the structure, looking to see where, kind of how everything will connect, kind of the A to B. So there's considerations. If you can get it to where the existing electrical equipment is, that's always best. We were fortunate at the Alderman's, after checking out the whole building, they had a couple different places where it could have, where the inverters could have gone, and the switchgear and the equipment to run the PV system. And we found more than adequate space in their existing mechanical room on a mezzanine that was there, and we were able to put the 3 inverters that run the system and some additional switchgear and so forth right into that room. Working with the Aldermans was really quite a pleasure. They were helpful when we needed some things moved on the lot to access the roof and move our equipment around. To help expedite the process, they set aside a dedicated space for us to keep all of our modules and equipment. I was fortunate enough that we had a good pool of folks to draw upon. We actually ended up contracting with Paul Metric. He's a master electrician, and he has some really good experience with these particular types of systems. And I mean, it's required in the state of Vermont on a commercial job to have a master electrician. And we also had some local contractors that helped us out with building the system, and they just followed through with the design. And as the job progresses, at certain points, there's different inspections. I would oversee the overall job as it was progressing, and then upon completion, we had multiple inspections. CVPS actually comes out to take a look at the job to be sure the interconnection's correct and they're happy with the way things look. And then you also have your state electrical inspector came out and met with Paul Metric and myself to go over the job and be sure everything was code compliant and followed the design properly. And then on this particular job, we also had the RERC come out, and they also took a look at the job to see that it fulfilled the requirements for the Vermont state incentive. And also Solar World, the manufacturer of the modules, came to take a look. I've been around the trades for a number of years, and one thing that I've always found that has drawn me to it is the fulfillment of seeing the completed project. And being that it's solar PV, I think it's even better. It's a great form of energy. It's something that I certainly see a big future of all of our lives, and to be part of it now as it grows, it's pretty cool. So to be able to put together this whole team, kind of take something and something from nothing and turn it into this great project that we completed, and be able to look out over it, see it working properly. It's really fulfilling. It's a great thing to see.